what are the possibilities that, you know, distant as it may appear today, that the Middle East could actually be normal once again?
It may not be the same Middle East. In whichever way it goes, it will not be the same Middle East. The disintegration of the countries is not something that could be taken for granted, because we do not know what will happen in case it disintegrates. So many countries are in favor of keeping the territorial integrities intact as it is. In Syria, there are several actors also. The main actor, of course, is the regime itself. It will prefer to preserve the territorial integrity of the country, but on one condition, that it is ruled by Bashar al-Assad. But if Bashar al-Assad finds out that it is not tenable, then a new jargon emerged in the international arena, which refers to useful Syria. Useful Syria is a combination of a few provinces in Syria, which is composed of Damascus, Homs, Tartus on the coast, and Latakia. So this is useful Syria. And so the present regime may withdraw to these 4 provinces, plus perhaps 2 more provinces, one Aleppo in the north, which is the second biggest city of Syria, and also commercial center of Syria. And the second other cities, which is outside these 4, is Daraa in the south, in the Jordanian border. So this is what is called the useful Syria. So in case of disintegration, another entity which will emerge is the Kurds in the north, adjacent to the Turkish border. They have already declared a few weeks ago a federated state. Whether this will become an independent, we do not know. In case of disintegration of Syria, of course they will become an independent state. The limits of it is again subject to negotiations. And the remainder of Syria, which is eastern desert, will be perhaps the SUNNI-STAN, Sunni population living there. And whether there will be an ethnic cleansing on both sides.
So is this a pre-World War I?
Actually, if we go to pre-World War I, then the disintegration of Syria plus Iraq amalgamate the 2 countries and mold a new one, which will be again the Sunni part of Syria added to the Sunni part of Iraq and make SUNNI-STAN there, right. Bigger SUNNI-STAN, which in case of the parallel disintegration of Iraq, Iraq may become 3 states, one Shia state in the south, Sunni state in the middle, and Kurdish state in the north.
Right. So you're saying that all this disintegration is going to lead to a situation which could be more stable than what it is today?
You are right in one sense, but of course we do not know how it will do. The present borders were drawn on the sands by 2 men, Sykes and Picot, in 1916, when they knew that the Ottoman Empire was going to disintegrate. So they drew on the map or on the sands a map saying that this part will go to France and this part to Britain. And without taking into consideration tribal dividends, Shia, Sunni, and the resources, all type of things. So now it will be redrawing of the map of the Middle East on the basis of either tribal or other considerations, strategic.
So let me bring you to the present very quickly. So the Syrian forces have taken over Palmyra and removed the ISIS from there. Do you see that as as a forward step? I mean, it is obviously forward in some ways because ISIS has been removed from one important city. But do you see that continuing? Do you see ISIS continuing to retreat?
Actually, I will first begin with the two extremes. A complete eradication of the ISIS elements is not easy because it's deep-rooted, especially in the Sunni regions. This is one extreme. The other is whether ISIS-type or semi-state or non-state actor could stay there indefinitely. This is not possible either. So we must be talking of a scenario which is in between. Neither the complete eradication nor the complete survival of the regime. It will be something in the middle. What type of shape it will take, it will depend upon the fight which will continue. Because both in Turkey and more so in Iraq and Syria, there is a Sunni, perhaps fundamentalist circles or segments of the society that are happy with this. Happy perhaps is too much to say, but they are not disturbed or they are not unhappy of the presence of ISIS because they believe that the type of Islam that they were taught at school or in the religious school or preached in the mosque, it is in that state. So it will remain there in different shapes.
Right. Last question. So what's the role that you see Turkey playing and Turkey ought to be playing in the next year or two in maintaining peace or trying to bring about peace and stability in the region?
Turkey had a tradition of secularism since 1930s. And this secularism has been internalized by many in Turkey. It doesn't mean that there are people who are against secular regime, who would like to see a type of Islamic way of life prevail rather than secularism. So this accumulation of experience in Turkey should not be disregarded entirely. But the present party in power, I'm one of the founding members of this party, has an agenda or has an inclination to make the Islamic values more prevail in the society. Whether it will be able to sell this to the public opinion at large, we do not know. We will see in the future. But there is an effort to do it by Turkey. So far, what I said so far is for the internal domestic efforts of the ruling party. Beyond Turkey's border, the government tries to also play an important role in the Middle East, but I am of those who believe in Turkey that Turkey has no means to play the role that it is aiming at in the Middle East, especially after the mistakes that were done in the Syrian policy and then in Iraqi policy of Turkey and the relations with Israel and relations with Egypt. When you take all these pieces into consideration, Turkey lost its leverage in the Middle East.